Deadliest T Seisho Keiki. Supreme Counselor Zara Kivash stood motionless before the vast observation window of the Galactic Harmony Council's headquarters. Her silver-blue scales caught the light of 1,000 stars as she gazed at the holographic display of Sol's system, specifically the third planet from an unremarkable yellow star. Earth. Play the recording again, she ordered, her 4 eyes narrowing at the blue-green world spinning slowly in the projection. Her assistant, Nyx, a slender avian with iridescent feathers, activated the command with a wave of his wing. This is the 5th time, Supreme Counselor, and I'll watch it 50 more if necessary. The hologram shifted, showing grainy footage captured by their most distant observation post, a human vessel, blocky, inelegant by Council standards, but undeniably advanced, moved through the darkness of space with surprising speed. What made the footage remarkable wasn't the ship itself, but what it carried: weapons. Lots of them. How long since our last formal assessment? Zara asked. 87 cycles, replied Nyx. They were still burning hydrocarbons and killing each other over arbitrary planetary divisions. They had barely touched their moon. Zara's secondary eyelids fluttered, a sign of deep concern among the Valaxian species. And now they have warships patrolling their outer system and military installations on multiple celestial bodies. The doors to the observation decks slid open with a soft hiss as the 7 other members of the High Council entered. Each represented one of the founding species of the Galactic Harmony Council, a coalition of civilizations that had maintained peace across 20% of the galaxy for over 10,000 cycles. Elder Thune, the oldest among them with skin like ancient parchment, spoke first. Is it true? The humans have achieved interplanetary capability. See for yourself. Zara gestured toward the display as new images appeared. A human base on their moon, mining operations on asteroids, and most concerning, what appeared to be weapons platforms in high orbit around their world. Impossible, huffed General Corax, his reptilian features tightening. No species develops this quickly, not without outside influence. Science Director Elia, her crystalline form shimmering with agitation, floated closer to examine the data. The technological progression doesn't follow any known developmental path. They've prioritized military applications over everything else. But why? Asked Ambassador Philo, the diplomatic specialist whose gelatinous body rippled with concern. They've had no contact with any spacefaring civilization. They have no enemies beyond their world. Zara turned to face the Council. That's what troubles me most. They're building weapons, establishing defensive perimeters, creating what can only be described as a war fleet. But against whom? Show them the communication intercepts, Nyx suggested. With another gesture, the hologram changed to display translated human communications, military in nature, filled with references to perimeter defense, early warning systems, and first contact protocols. This one is particularly concerning. Zara highlighted one communication string. CRATCOM to all units. Long-range sensors have detected anomalous readings at the edge of the heliopause. Implement send tiny ill protocols immediately. This is not a drill. Repeat, this is not a drill. Silence fell over the council chamber. They know something's out there, murmured Elder Thune. They're preparing for war against an enemy they haven't even met. General Corax's scales darkened with agitation. Or they're preparing to expand aggressively into the galaxy. We've seen younger species do this before. No, Elia interjected, her crystalline voice resonating. Look at these energy readings from their planet. New data streams appeared beside the hologram. Their civilization-wide power consumption dropped by 17% over the last cycle, while their space activity increased exponentially. They're not expanding for resources. They're frightened. Zara nodded slowly. I believe Science Director Elia is correct. The humans think they're about to be invaded. Ambassador Philo rippled with confusion. But by whom? We're the closest spacefaring civilization, and we've maintained strict non-interference. That's the question we need to answer, Zara replied. Nix, access the historical database. Search for any potential contact between Earth and any spacefaring species within the last 1,000 cycles. Nix worked quickly, his wings manipulating the holographic interface with practiced efficiency. Nothing in the official records, Supreme Counselor. But there is this. A new image appeared, a crude human drawing of a thin, gray being with an enlarged head and oversized black eyes. What is that supposed to be? Asked General Korax with evident disdain. The humans call them grays, Nix explained. These images appear throughout their global information network. According to human folklore, these beings have visited Earth many times, abducting humans for study. Elder Thune leaned closer, his ancient eyes widening. That silhouette, it resembles the Zenth. The council members exchanged troubled glances. The Zenth have been extinct for over 3,000 cycles, said General Korax. But they were known for their biological research, countered Elia. And they did not adhere to council protocols regarding developing worlds. Zara's scales shifted to a darker blue, a sign of deep concern among her kind. If the Zenth visited Earth before their extinction, if they took humans for study as these stories suggest, then the humans have been preparing for their return ever since, finished Ambassador Philo. They've built their entire space program around defending against an enemy that no longer exists. The chamber fell silent again as the implications sank in. Supreme Counselor, Nix interrupted, his feathers ruffling with agitation. New data from observation post Sigma 12. Human vessels have been detected near Proxima Centauri. They appear to be establishing some kind of forward base. Proxima Centauri, the nearest star to Earth's sun, just over 4 light-years away. Close enough to be Earth's backyard by galactic standards. How did they get there so quickly? Asked General Korax. Their technology shouldn't allow for such rapid interstellar travel. Unknown, Nix replied. But the readings suggest they're using some form of compression drive technology. Compression drives. Elia sounded shocked. That's not a natural technological progression from chemical rockets. They should have developed hyperspace transition tech first. Unless, Zara said slowly, they reversed engineered something they found, or something that was left behind. Before anyone could respond, a sharp alarm cut through the chamber. Nix darted to a console, his wings a blur of motion. Emergency alert from observation post Sigma 12, he reported, voice tight with tension. They've been detected by human scanners. Impossible, General Korax snapped. Our stealth technology has failed. Nix interrupted, displaying new data. The humans are using some kind of detection system we've never encountered before. It's cutting right through our phase-shifting cloaks. Ambassador Philo's body rippled frantically. We need to establish communication immediately. If they believe we're these grays returning. The alarm shrieked louder as the holographic display showed a human vessel changing course, accelerating directly toward the observation post. Too late, Zara said grimly. They're moving to engage. The council watched in stunned silence as the human ship, a sleek, predatory design bristling with what appeared to be weapon systems, closed on the observation post. The post was scientific in nature, with minimal defenses, and a crew of just 12 researchers. Evacuation protocols initiated, Nix reported. The research team is retreating. The humans wouldn't attack without provocation. Ambassador Philo insisted. We should attempt to communicate. The words died as a barrage of projectiles erupted from the human vessel. Not energy weapons or plasma beams, but physical projectiles moving at incredible velocities. The observation post's shields, designed to deflect energy attacks, failed completely as the projectiles passed through them like they weren't even there. Physical kinetic weapons. General Korax sounded almost impressed. Primitive, but effective against our shield technology. The observation post's engines flared as it attempted to escape, but not before taking significant damage. The council watched in horrified fascination as the human vessel closed in, latched onto the damaged post with some kind of magnetic grapple, and sent smaller craft to board it. "They're salvaging it," Elia whispered. "Taking our technology." "The crew?" asked Elder Thune. "Safe," Nix confirmed. "They reached the emergency shuttle before boarding. But the humans now have access to council technology." Zara turned to face the council, her scales now almost black with concern. "We face an unprecedented situation. A developing species has not only achieved interstellar travel far ahead of schedule, but has now directly engaged with council assets. They are armed, dangerous, and believe they are about to be invaded by a species that resembles us. Our options are limited." General Korak stepped forward. "We must respond with force, establish a quarantine zone around their system, and prevent further expansion." "And confirm their fears," countered Ambassador Philo. "No, we must attempt peaceful contact. Explain the situation." "I agree with Ambassador Philo," said Elia. "Their technological development is remarkable. They could become valuable allies if we can overcome this misunderstanding." Elder Thune, who had been silent, suddenly raised a gnarled hand. "There is another factor we must consider." He gestured, and the holographic display changed to show a sector of space well away from Earth. Long-range sensors picked this up 3 cycles ago. The image showed what appeared to be a small fleet of ships moving through the darkness between stars. Their design was unlike anything in the Council database, smooth, almost organic in appearance. "Unknown vessels?" asked General Korax. "Yes," confirmed Elder Thune. "And their projected course will take them directly to Earth within 12 cycles." The council chamber erupted in confused discussion until Zara raised a hand for silence. "It seems," she said slowly, "that the humans may be right after all. Someone is coming for them. The question is, who? And more importantly, why now, after all this time?" As if in answer, the holographic display flickered, showing a massive energy surge near Jupiter. A new contact had appeared in Earth's home system. A ship of unknown design, neither human nor council. The game had changed entirely. "Nemis UNDERSTANDINGs and REVELATIONs." Admiral Helena Chen stood on the bridge of the EDF Vigilant, Earth's most advanced warship, staring at the holographic display with narrowed eyes. The unknown vessel had appeared without warning near Jupiter's orbit, right where their early warning system had detected anomalous readings days earlier. "Scan complete, Admiral," reported her tactical officer, Lieutenant Dias. "The vessel doesn't match any known configuration in our database. It's approximately twice our size, with unusual energy readings throughout its structure." Helena's jaw tightened. After generations of preparation, humanity's greatest fear was being realized. The visitors had returned. "All stations, battle protocols," she ordered, her voice calm despite the historic significance of the moment. "Alert Terra Command that we have confirmed first contact. Deploy drones for closer observation." "Yes, Admiral," replied her communications officer. "Wait. The vessel is transmitting." The bridge fell silent as a voice came through the speakers, translated by their linguistic eye. "Earth vessel, this is Ambassador Philo of the Galactic Harmony Council. We come in peace. Please respond." Helena exchanged glances with her executive officer, Commander Okafor. "They know our language." "Of course they do," Okafor replied grimly. "They've been studying us for decades." Helena nodded toward communications. "Open a channel." When the officer signaled readiness, she spoke clearly. "Unknown vessel, this is Admiral Helena Chen of the Earth Defense Force. You have entered restricted space without authorization. State your purpose immediately." There was a pause before the response came. "Admiral Chen, we understand your caution. We represent a coalition of peaceful species. We have been observing Earth's development and wish to establish formal diplomatic contact. After what you did to our people," Helena's voice remained measured, but ice cold. After the abductions, the experiments. Another pause, longer this time. I believe there has been a significant misunderstanding. The Galactic Harmony Council has strict protocols regarding non-interference with developing worlds. We have never abducted humans or conducted experiments. Helena's laugh was sharp and without humor. Your denial is noted, but we've prepared for this day for generations. We know what you look like. We know what you've done. Admiral, interrupted Lieutenant Diaz, multiple new contacts detected near Saturn. 5 vessels, similar configuration to the first unknown. Before Helena could respond, her communication officer suddenly straightened. Admiral, emergency transmission from Outpost Titan. They're under attack. By whom? Demanded Helena, already moving to the tactical station. Unknown vessels, ma'am. Not matching the configuration of those near Jupiter. These are different. The holographic display shifted to show the feed from Titan, Saturn's largest moon, where humanity had established a critical research facility. The image showed sleek, curved ships with a distinctly organic appearance firing upon the outpost's defenses. Those aren't the same as our contact here, muttered Commander Okafor. Helena's mind raced. Deploy Battle Group Delta to Titan immediately. Seal all classified research sections. She turned back to communications and put me through to our visitor again. When the channel opened, Helena spoke with deadly precision. Are those your friends attacking our Titan outpost? Was this diplomatic approach just a distraction? What? The alien voice sounded genuinely confused. Admiral Chen, we have no vessels near Saturn. The Council's only ship in your system is the one communicating with you now. Admiral, Lieutenant Diaz called out, the unknown vessels at Jupiter are moving. They're positioning themselves between us and the new hostiles. Helena watched as the larger vessel, this Galactic Harmony Council ship, and its companions formed what could only be described as a defensive formation between Earth forces and the attacking vessels at Saturn. Admiral Chen, came the alien voice again, urgency now evident. The ships attacking your outpost are not affiliated with the Council. They are unknown to us as well, but we believe they may be connected to ancient visitors to your world. Beings your people call Greys. We must coordinate our response immediately. Helena stared at the tactical display, decades of training and preparation, suddenly insufficient for the complexity of the situation unfolding before her. Earth had prepared for the return of alien visitors, but not for competing alien factions. So, your assessment? She asked quietly. Commander Okafor studied the display. The Council vessels could have attacked us directly if that was their intention. They've positioned themselves to intercept the hostiles. He paused. I think we may have been preparing for the wrong enemy, Admiral. After a moment of tense deliberation, Helena made her decision. Open a secure channel to Terra Command. Request permission to establish conditional cooperation with the Galactic Council representatives against the hostile force at Titan. She turned to the viewport, watching as the stars seemed to blur from the speed of their approach toward Saturn. And may God help us if we're wrong, she whispered. In the Council diplomatic vessel, Ambassador Philo's gelatinous form rippled with anxiety as he watched the human warships accelerate toward Saturn. They're not attacking us, he observed with relief. They're moving to defend their outpost. Supreme Counselor Zara, who had insisted on joining this critical first contact mission, despite the obvious dangers, nodded. And we will assist them. General Corax, deploy our defensive assets to support the human forces at their moon called Titan. General Corax, commanding the Council's military contingent from their flagship, acknowledged the order. Deploying now, Supreme Counselor. But I must emphasize that our vessels are primarily scientific and diplomatic. We are not equipped for extended combat operations. Understood, Zara replied. Our goal is to demonstrate our peaceful intentions by aiding them against a common enemy. She turned to Science Director Elia. What can you tell us about these attacking vessels? Elia's crystalline form shimmered as she analyzed the incoming data. The design has elements consistent with ancient Zenth technology, but significantly evolved. If these are indeed related to the beings that visited Earth millennia ago, they have advanced considerably. The question is why they've returned now, mused Elder Thune. After all this time, before anyone could speculate further, their communications officer announced, "Incoming transmission from the human admiral." Admiral Chen's face appeared on their view screen, her expression guarded but resolute. "This is Admiral Chen. My government has authorized limited cooperation against the hostile force attacking our Titan outpost. Be advised that Earth forces will monitor your movements closely. Any action perceived as threatening to Earth assets will be met with immediate response." Zara stepped forward, her silver-blue scales catching the light. "Admiral Chen, I am Supreme Counselor Zora Kivash of the Galactic Harmony Council. We accept your terms and are grateful for this opportunity to demonstrate our peaceful intentions. Our vessels are moving to support your defense of Titan." Chen's expression remained impassive. "Just so we're clear, Counselor, this is a temporary arrangement based on immediate necessity. Earth has questions that will require answers once this threat is contained." "Of course, Admiral. We have many things to discuss. But first, let us ensure the safety of your people on Titan." The transmission ended, and Zara turned back to her fellow council members. "A beginning, at least. A beginning built on mistrust," noted Ambassador Fellow. "But a beginning nonetheless," Zara replied. "General Korax, coordinate with the human military. Science Director Elia, I need everything you can learn about these attacking vessels. Elder Thune, access our historical archives, find any connection between the Zenth and these new aggressors." As the council ship accelerated toward Saturn, Zara watched the human vessels moving alongside them. Powerful, dangerous, and built for war. She couldn't help but wonder, if humans had prepared so thoroughly based on limited contact with the Zenth millennia ago, what would they become with access to advanced galactic technology? The thought was both exhilarating and terrifying. On Titan, chaos reigned. Dr. James Wong ducked as another explosion shook the research facility. Alarms blared while emergency lighting bathed the corridors in pulsing red. He clutched the secure data core to his chest, the culmination of 15 years of research into the alien artifacts discovered buried beneath Titan's surface decades ago. "This way," shouted Security Chief Ramirez, gesturing toward an emergency exit. "The AVEC shuttles are prepping for immediate departure." As they ran through the corridors, the facility shook again, more violently this time. Through a viewport, James caught a glimpse of the attackers, sleek, organic-looking ships firing precisely at the outpost's key infrastructure. "They know exactly where to hit us," he panted as they reached the evacuation area. "They know the facility layout." Ramirez gave him a grim look. "That's not all. Look at their target pattern." She pulled up a schematic on her wrist display. "They're focusing on Section 7. James felt his blood run cold. Section 7 housed the ancient alien artifacts that had revolutionized human technology. Fragments of a crashed ship that had given humanity the breakthrough needed to develop interstellar propulsion decades ahead of schedule. "They're here for the artifacts," he whispered. "After all this time, they've come back for what they left behind." The realization struck him with horrifying clarity. "Chief Ramirez, we need to destroy Section 7. Now." Ramirez stared at him. "Those artifacts are humanity's most valuable resource. And if they get them back, they'll know exactly what we've learned," James interrupted. "Worse, they'll know what we've built from studying them." After a moment of hesitation, Ramirez nodded and activated her comm. "Command, this is Security Chief Ramirez, requesting remote detonation of Section 7 containment protocols. Authorization, Ramirez Alpha 7 Omega. Clearance verified. Be advised, Battle Group Delta has arrived and engaged the hostiles. The EDF Vigilant reports additional vessels approaching, possibly Allied forces." Allied, James repeated incredulously. We don't have allies. We do now, apparently, Ramirez replied grimly. Boarding the AVAC shuttle in 2 minutes. Initiate Section 7 containment breach on my mark. As they hurried toward the waiting shuttle, James couldn't shake the feeling that humanity had just been thrust into something far beyond their preparation. They had spent generations readying for the return of the Greys, but nothing had prepared them for the possibility of competing alien factions or potential allies. The ground shook beneath them as the battle continued overhead. Whatever happened next, James knew with absolute certainty that humanity's place in the galaxy had just irrevocably changed. Above Titan, Admiral Helena Chen watched the battle unfold with grim fascination. Earth's defense forces had engaged the unknown hostiles, while the Galactic Council vessels provided support, primarily defensive in nature, creating protective barriers around key Earth installations, while human warships launched their attacks. Tactical analysis, she ordered. Lieutenant Diaz responded promptly. The hostile vessels appear to be targeting specific sections of the Titan research facility. Their weapons technology is advanced, energy-based, highly focused. But our kinetic systems are effective against their defenses. Helena nodded. Humanity's choice to develop mass accelerator weapons rather than energy-based systems had been controversial among Earth's military theorists. But it was proving to be unexpectedly advantageous. The attackers' shields appeared optimized to deflect energy weapons, not the hypervelocity projectiles Earth vessels employed. And the Council vessels, she asked. Primarily defensive capabilities, as they claimed, Commander Okafor reported. Their shield technology is impressive. They're absorbing hits that would cripple our ships, but their offensive systems are limited. Helena watched as one of the Council ships extended some kind of energy barrier to protect an Earth cruiser from enemy fire. Whatever else these Galactic Harmony Council representatives might be, they were fighting alongside humanity against the attackers. Admiral, transmission from Titan Base, announced her communications officer. Security Chief Ramirez reports they're evacuating critical personnel and research data. They're also preparing to destroy Section 7 to prevent capture. Helena felt her heart sink. Section 7 contained the alien artifacts that had jump-started humanity's technological revolution. Destroying it would be an incalculable loss. Tell them to hold on the destruction sequence, she ordered. We're making progress against the hostiles. As if to contradict her assessment, 3 more of the organic-looking enemy vessels appeared from behind Titan, moving with unnatural speed and precision. New contacts, barked Lieutenant Diaz. They're heading straight for Section 7. Helena made her decision instantly. All vessels, concentrate fire on the new arrivals, and open a channel to the Council flagship. Supreme Counselor Zara's face appeared on the screen. Admiral Chen, the situation is deteriorating. Those new vessels are targeting our most sensitive research section, Helena said without preamble. We need to stop them at all costs. Understood, Zara replied. We've analyzed their attack pattern. These are not random strikes. They are seeking something specific. Helena hesitated, then made a critical decision. They're after alien artifacts we discovered on Titan decades ago. Technology left behind by visitors similar to these attackers. Zara's 4 eyes widened. The Zenth technology. That explains your rapid advancement. She paused. Admiral, you must not let them reclaim those artifacts. Our historians believe these beings are not the Zenth themselves, but their creations, biological constructs designed for research and exploration. If they obtain the original technology, they may be able to decode your adaptations and nullify your advantages. That's exactly what our scientists believe, Helena replied, surprised at the alignment of their analysis. We're preparing to destroy the artifacts rather than risk capture. A wise precaution, Zara agreed. General Korux will coordinate with your forces to create an opening for your strike vessels. But Admiral, we need to talk about what happens after this battle. Helena's expression hardened. One crisis at a time, Counselor. The battle intensified as Earth and Council forces fought to protect the Titan facility. Helena watched with professional admiration as the Council vessels executed complex maneuvers in perfect coordination with her battle groups, creating openings for Earth's warships to deliver devastating strikes against the hostile forces. "They're good," murmured Commander Okafor. "Yes," Helena agreed, "almost like they've done this before." A sudden alert drew their attention back to the tactical display. One of the enemy vessels had broken through their combined defense and was descending toward the research facility. "They've penetrated the perimeter," Lieutenant Diaz reported. "Impact on Section 7 in 30 seconds. Ramirez, detonate now." Helena ordered into the comm. On the surface of Titan, a massive explosion erupted as Section 7's self-destruct sequence activated. The blast sent shockwaves across the moon's surface, engulfing the descending enemy vessel in the process. For a moment, silence fell across the bridge of the Vigilant as they processed what had just happened. Humanity had destroyed one of its most valuable resources to prevent it from falling into enemy hands. "Status?" Helena finally asked. "Section 7 is gone," reported her tactical officer. "The enemy vessel was caught in the blast. Remaining hostile forces are withdrawing." Helena watched as the organic ships broke off their attack, accelerating away from Titan with remarkable speed. "They're retreating," Commander Okafor said, disbelief evident in his voice. "No," Helena replied quietly. "They got what they came for." "But the artifacts were destroyed," Okafor objected. "Were they?" Helena turned to her communications officer. "Get me Dr. Wong from the evacuation shuttle." Dr. Wong's face appeared on screen moments later, soot-streaked and grim. "Admiral, the destruction sequence was successful." "What did they take, James?" Helena asked directly. Wong looked surprised, then resigned. "How did you know?" "Because they're retreating too easily." "What did they get?" "Data, Admiral," Wong admitted. "They breached our systems briefly before we initiated the destruction sequence. They downloaded some of our research files. Not everything, but enough to know what we've learned from studying the artifacts." Helena cursed under her breath. "And what we've built based on them." As the enemy vessels disappeared from sensor range, Helena turned to find Supreme Counselor Zara's transmission still active, the alien leader watching the exchange with evident concern. "It seems we have much to discuss after all, Counselor," Helena said grimly, "about who these attackers really are, why they've returned now, and what exactly your council knows about them." Zara's silver-blue scales shifted in what Helena was beginning to recognize as a sign of agreement. "Indeed, Admiral, and perhaps about humanity's place in a galaxy that is far more complex and dangerous than either of us fully understood until today." As the combined Earth and Council fleet regrouped, Helena couldn't shake the feeling that this battle was merely the opening move in a much larger game, one with rules humanity was only beginning to comprehend. Unexpected allies. 3 weeks after the Battle of Titan, representatives from Earth and the Galactic Harmony Council gathered aboard the neutral space station Concordia, hastily constructed in Earth orbit as a venue for diplomatic negotiations. The station represented a technological compromise, built with Earth materials but incorporating Council environmental systems to accommodate the various species. Admiral Helena Chen sat at one side of the circular table, flanked by General Santiago of the Earth Defense Force, Dr. James Wong from the Titan research team, and Ambassador Reiko Nakamura, Earth's newly appointed diplomatic representative. Across from them sat the Council delegation: Supreme Counselor Zora Kivash, Ambassador Philo, Science Director Ilya, and General Korax. "Let us begin with what we know," said Ambassador Nakamura, her voice calm and measured despite the historic significance of the meeting. "The beings who attacked our Titan outpost, you believe they are connected to those who visited Earth millennia ago?" "Yes," confirmed Science Director Ilya, her crystalline form shimmering under the station's lights. "Based on the data we've gathered, These attackers are biological constructs created by the Zenth, an ancient species that went extinct over 3,000 of your years ago. Biological constructs. General Santiago leaned forward. You mean artificial beings? In a sense, Elia continued. The Zenth were master geneticists who created specialized biological entities for exploration and research. These Greys, as humans call them, were designed to operate independently, gathering data across the galaxy. And they visited Earth, Dr. Wong stated, abducted humans, experimented on them. Ambassador Philo's gelatinous form rippled with what might have been discomfort. Yes, against Council protocols, the Zenth were not always compliant with Council regulations regarding developing worlds. Helena's eyes narrowed. You knew about this? Not specifically, Supreme Councilor Zora replied. The Zenth kept many of their activities secret, even from the Council. It was only after their extinction that we discovered the extent of their unauthorized studies. By then, the damage was done. The damage, Helena repeated. You mean the trauma inflicted on countless humans, the fear that shaped our entire civilization. Zara's secondary eyelids fluttered. A gesture Helena had learned indicated regret. Yes. And for that, the Council offers its deepest apologies. Apologies won't erase generations of preparation for an invasion we thought was coming, General Santiago said bitterly. Our entire space program was built around defense against these Greys. And yet, Science Director Elia observed, that preparation may have saved you. Your reverse engineering of Zenth technology accelerated your development by centuries. Dr. Wong nodded reluctantly. The artifacts we found on Titan, fragments of a crashed scout ship, gave us compression drive technology. Without it, we'd still be confined to our solar system. What I don't understand, Ambassador Nakamura interjected, is why these constructs have returned now, after thousands of years. Silence fell over the table as Supreme Councilor Zara and Elder Thune exchanged meaningful glances. We believe, Zara finally said, that they were recalled. Recalled, Helena repeated. By whom? You said the Zenth are extinct. Elder Thune, who had been silent until now, spoke in his ancient, gravelly voice. Mostly extinct. We have discovered evidence suggesting a small faction of Zenth may have survived by placing themselves in stasis on a remote world beyond Council space. And they've awakened, General Santiago concluded grimly. Yes, confirmed Zora. Our analysts believe they activated recall protocols for their biological constructs scattered throughout the galaxy. The constructs are returning to their creators, bringing data from millennia of independent operation, including data about Earth, Helena realized, about what we've done with their technology. Science Director Elia's crystalline form pulsed with what might have been anxiety. Precisely. And based on the attack pattern at Titan, they are specifically interested in how you've adapted their technology. Dr. Wong leaned forward. You believe they see us as a threat? With good reason, General Korak said, his reptilian features tightening. You've weaponized their scientific tools very effectively. Tension crackled across the table until Ambassador Philo intervened. This is not about assigning blame. The fact remains that both humanity and the Council now face a common threat. The returning Zenth faction operates outside Council law and clearly has hostile intent. Which brings us to why we're here, Supreme Councilor Zora said. We propose an alliance between Earth and the Galactic Harmony Council against this threat. Helena exchanged glances with her colleagues. After generations of preparing to fight aliens, the irony of being asked to ally with them wasn't lost on anyone. What exactly would this alliance entail? Asked Ambassador Nakamura. Technology exchange, Zara replied promptly. Defensive coordination, intelligence sharing, and eventually full membership in the Council for Earth,